Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at a path to success that's maybe a bit surprising, kind of steps away from all the noise, the constant head-on fighting.
Hmm.
Our mission really is to unpack how those lasting wins often come not from brute force, but, well, from smarter positioning, looking where others just aren't.
And we've got a really fascinating mix of sources for this deep dive. It's quite interesting. We're pulling from ancient wisdom stoicism, for instance, and blending that with modern strategy, thinkers like Peter Drucker.
That's quite a blend.
It is. But they all point towards let's say, a more nuanced way to think about competition. Winning smarter, not just harder. So we're going to try and pull out some really practical insights for you.
Okay, let's jump right in then. There's a core idea here about breaking free, liberation from just reacting all the time. Mark Cain put it really well. The first step toward success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment in which you first find yourself.
That really is foundational, isn't it?
It hits home. It's about not being limited by, well, whatever situation you're in,
Mm-hmm.
or even just your own mindset. Maybe always chasing what a competitor does, or letting your email control your day.
Exactly. And what's so crucial there is how it frees up your thinking strategically. I mean, if you're constantly just reacting to the market, to a competitor, even just daily stuff, you're playing their game.
Right. On their terms.
This principle says, no, you define your own terms. You actively choose your path instead of just getting, swept along.
Okay, so step one is breaking free. Step two must be actually doing something different. Peter Drucker had this brilliant phrase, hitting them where they aren't,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't just avoiding a fight. It's something he called creative imitation. Now, that sounds a bit counterintuitive, maybe. Like, isn't innovation about being totally new?
Well, that's the interesting part. For Drucker, it wasn't necessarily about inventing something brand new from scratch. It was more about seeing what is working, but then making it, better or different, filling a gap nobody else saw.
Yeah.
The classic example really is IBM and the PC market.
Right. Apple basically invented the personal computer as we know it. It was revolutionary, a huge sensation, changed everything.
Absolutely.
But IBM, they didn't try to just build a better Apple computer, did they? They asked a different kind of question. More like, okay, Apple's done this amazing thing, but what are they missing? What do people actually need or want that Apple isn't providing?
Right, precisely. And their answer, the insight that changed everything, was software.
Software, right.
Apple had the amazing hardware, the innovation, but IBM realized customers, especially businesses, needed more. A whole ecosystem, better support, more applications.
It moves fast.
Incredibly fast. Within, 18 months, they had a PC out there with the software and support Apple lacked. And think about this, within another year or so, IBM was the worldwide market leader for over a decade.
Well, Apple became almost marginal for a time.
Exactly. IBM won not by being more inventive than Apple in the initial phase, but by being more observant. They saw the gap between the cool new tech and what customers truly needed to be satisfied.
So Drucker's point is, look at what's successful, sure, but then find a way to improve on it for the customer. Outflank them that way.
That's the essence of creative imitation. Find the gap.
But surely that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do companies try this and just get it wrong? Maybe they misjudge the gap, or they still fall into the trap of trying to out-invent instead of out-observe. What are the common mistakes?
Oh, absolutely. A huge pitfall is ego. Drucker talked about the better mousetrap fallacy, this belief that just because your invention is technically superior, it'll automatically win.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
Often it's not the first mover who wins long-term, but the one who figures out how to commercialize it effectively, or, like IBM, solve the whole problem for the customer, not just the technical bit. IBM asked, what's the real issue Apple hasn't quite nailed yet for the broader market?
That distinction is critical.
Yeah.
And it connects, maybe surprisingly, to much older ideas, like Stoicism. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, he taught something like, a good person is invincible because they don't rush into contests where they aren't the strongest. At first glance, that sounds almost passive, like giving up.
Not at all. Not when you dig into it. It's actually the bedrock of real strength. Think about martial arts. It's a core principle, right? Strength doesn't just crash against strength head on.
Right. You redirect.
Exactly. A skilled fighter redirects the opponent's energy. They look for the opening, the vulnerability, the place where the opponent is off balance or overextended. They don't try to block the strongest punch with brute force.
That's a great analogy. It really reframes that idea of choosing your battles. It's not about being weak, it's strategic.
Yeah.
Like, Intellectual Aikido.
Precisely.
So this isn't about ducking every challenge in life. It applies everywhere. Your career, personal projects. It means not taking on impossible tasks without really thinking it through first. Not saying yes to everything that lands on your plate.
Yeah.
It's a strategic calculation. It says, don't just try to fail less. Try to eliminate pointless effort. Focus your energy where your strengths actually matter, where you can have a real impact instead of just wasting it on fights you're not equipped for.
And the Stoics called this reasoned choice. You think hard. You assess the situation, your position, your opponents, the whole landscape before you jump in. That's what makes you unbeatable, because you only engage where you know you have an edge or where you can cleverly create one.
It's proactive, not reactive.
Exactly that. Strategic.
Speaking of strategy, there's this fantastic Spanish phrase, despacio voy porque deprisa estoy,
Ah, yes.
which translates to, I go slowly because I'm in a hurry. It sounds completely contradictory. How does that work?
It's a beautiful paradox, isn't it? But there's a deep truth there. When you are genuinely urgent about reaching important goals, you literally cannot afford to be hasty. Rushing leads to mistakes. It leads to overlooking crucial details, deliberate speed, taking the time to observe, to position yourself, to prepare properly before acting. That's actually the fastest way to get where you need to go effectively.
Like Thoreau warned, you can't kill time without injuring eternity. Rushing things can actually damage your bigger goals.
Precisely. Hasty action often means you end up on the wrong path entirely, and then you have to backtrack. That's not fast. Slowing down to ensure you're moving in the right direction with the right preparation, that's real speed.
So this patience isn't passive waiting, it's active preparation. Gathering intelligence, sharpening the saw, understanding the landscape.
Exactly. It's not just sitting around. It's purposeful observation and preparation. It lets you see the opportunities that everyone else in their frantic rush completely misses. It's a kind of quiet power.
Like a chess master, thinking several moves ahead.
That's a perfect analogy. It's not about moving quickly. It's about moving effectively. Precision over just raw speed.
Which brings us neatly to, well, what guides all this preparation? This deliberate speed. You need a destination, right? Which is where vision comes in.
Absolutely critical.
As one insight puts it, staying focused is difficult without vision. If you don't know where you're ultimately trying to go, how can you possibly stay on that deliberate, smarter path?
Exactly. That clear sense of purpose, that vision, it's what frees you from the reactive trap we talked about earlier. It acts like a filter. It helps you spot what your competitors aren't doing, maybe what they can't do because of their own blind spots or assumptions.
Your vision highlights those gaps for you.
It illuminates the path, and it allows for that creative imitation because you're not just looking at them, you're looking at the landscape through the lens of your own goal.
And with that clarity, you can then compete, but not for the result. That sounds deep. How does that work?
It means when you're anchored in something bigger, a purpose beyond just winning the specific contest, you can engage fully.
Yeah.
But you're not defined by the outcome. You're not enslaved by needing to win at all costs.
Which, paradoxically, might make you more effective.
Often, yes. Because you're not playing by the same narrow rules. You have more flexibility, you see different kinds of wins, you're playing your own game guided by your vision.
There's an internal balance needed too, isn't there? One source advises, be happy with what you have. Be excited about what you want. Seems contradictory again.
But it's not, really. It's the core of sustainable strategic thinking. Being content, grateful for where you are, that keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
It prevents you from making desperate, impulsive moves out of dissatisfaction.
Okay.
But the excitement for what you want that provides the drive, the energy, the forward-looking perspective to spot those new opportunities, those strategic gaps no one else is seeing, it's that dynamic tension,
Right.
gratitude and ambition working together.
So let's circle back to creative imitation for a moment. It requires a certain humility, doesn't it? You need the smarts to learn from others, but also the confidence to think you can actually improve on what they've done. Work hard and stay humble seems relevant here.
Definitely. Think about IBM again. There was real humility in their approach. Apple had this amazing celebrated invention. IBM didn't dismiss it. They studied it. But they focused intensely on the market's needs, on what customers were still lacking.
Not just on Apple's achievement itself.
Right. It was a subtle shift, but crucial. They weren't trying to be better than Apple's invention in a technical sense initially. They were trying to serve the market better overall. That required observing customer needs with humility.
And it connects to Kimberly Johnson's point. Never ruin an opportunity with an excuse. IBM could easily have said, Apple got there first, the market's locked up, we're too late. That's the excuse.
A very common one.
But they didn't. They saw Apple's success not as a barrier, but as information, a challenge that actually defined an opportunity. They turned a potential disadvantage into a strategic gift,
They saw the challenge as a problem clearly laid out for them to solve in a different way.
which leads to a bigger thought, maybe a gentler one, Hugh Prather observed. A gentle vision makes a more gentle world in which to walk.
I like that. It suggests the most powerful strategy isn't always the loudest or most aggressive.
Yeah. Sometimes real strength is in that thoughtful positioning, that precise, well-timed move, not just overwhelming force.
It suggests seeing challenges not just as obstacles to smash through, but as potential gifts, as information. Obstacles tell you where the gaps are, where the vulnerabilities lie, where the real opportunities might be hidden.
It's almost kinder to yourself, to your own energy, to approach things that way.
It is. When you stop seeing every obstacle as a fight to be won through force and start seeing it as data, as intel about market needs or competitor blind spots, it changes the whole game. Every difficulty becomes a clue, pointing towards where your unique creative imitation or reasoned choice can make a difference.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you, our listener, the core message here maybe is this. While everyone else might be rushing towards the same obvious crowded spot,
Fighting for the same scraps.
your secret superpower, perhaps, is finding those overlooked places. Success doesn't always go to the fastest runner or the loudest voice. Often it goes to the smartest, the most observant, and maybe even the kindest. Those who look for ways to help or create or succeed where others simply aren't looking.
It's about strategic patience and that freedom you get when you stop just reacting.
Choosing to play a different game, your own game.
So here's a thought to take with you. The next time you face a big challenge, or even a small one, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, okay, where's everyone else rushing? What are they all focused on? And what are they missing?
Yeah, and how can I contribute or help or find an opening here in a way nobody else is even considering right now?
It's a powerful question.
It really is. And that approach, well, it not only helps you find a more sustainable path to success, but it might just make the world a little bit better along the way.